Whoa! Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess. That was weird.
Oh my gosh. Let's get it.
And Mattson Heiner.
I'm supposed to say better read than dead.
I don't know why that happened. It just did. But
That was weird.
Sometimes doing things different, changing things up, messes with people. So I did it. We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell an embalmed hand about us. Maybe just don't send it to me. I
don't want anything to do with an embalmed hand.
Keep it at home. A ceramic embalmed hand with a bunch of writing on it. Yeah. Anyway, we're here on round 2 of April, which is horror month. And we have, before we get into what movie we're talking about, if you haven't figured it out, we have our sponsor, Manscaped. Get through a serious topic before we get weird. But this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. And did you know one man every hour, every day is diagnosed with testicular cancer? In fact, testicular cancer is the most common form of cancer amongst men aged 15 to 35. With April being National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, our friends over at Manscaped have partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to help spread awareness for men's health and early cancer detection. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer. And as always, you can use promo code The Verdict, all one word, for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. I think April's going to be a wild month because I've never said testicle or testicular this many times in my entire life. But I think I like it because I think it's a good cause. I didn't know that about one man every hour, every day. That's rough. Like, makes me want to check myself. So
I don't like those odds.
Especially you two should be, because you're in that 15 to 35 range.
If it's my time to go, it's my time to
go. I've moved out of that 15 to 35 range. I have other issues I have to worry about now, but so go check them out. We love Manscaped. They provide us good grooming tools, and we love it. But make sure you're going and getting checked out. If you're a man, if you're a woman, make your man go get checked out. Like, we need to get ahead of that. So also, in addition to providing the right tools and solutions, like I said, for comfortable and easy grooming, Manscaped is committed to raising awareness, which I love, and giving support for our fighters, for survivors, and families that are impacted by testicular cancer. That's why they will be donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society. Help save lives and balls by going over to manscaped.com/TCS, sharing their funny, educational, check yourself video. And while you're at it, grab 20% off plus free shipping with code The Verdict, because like a famous American philosopher once said, take care of your chicken, your balls, and your mentals. I feel like I want to say that in like an inappropriate moment. I'm just trying to figure out how to work that in some moment when it's like, did you really just say take care of your chicken, your balls, and your mentals? I like it. So with that, let's jump into our episode. Today we're talking about Talk to Me. It was released July 28th, 2023 in the United States. It was released a little earlier than that in its native country of Australia.
Good day, mate.
That's right. It was written and directed by Danny Philippou and Michael Philippou. It stars Sophie Wilde, Ari McCarthy, Hamish Phillips, Sonny Johnson, Marcus Johnson, Jet Gaisley, Alexandra Jensen, Miranda Otto, Jude Turner, and Zoe Terakes. I don't know, something like that. It's about a group of friends who discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand. They become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. This movie's... Look, I picked this movie because when I saw it in the theater, I was uncomfortable. Like, And there was a part in this movie, and I'm sure Alex gonna bring it up because we texted about it. It gets a little weird in a moment that I was like, that felt gratuitous and unnecessary and didn't really add to the film. But like the rest of it, and I like films like this where like that moment right before shit gets weird, like where you see the silhouette of the lady in the corner. Like I like, and we talked a little bit about this last week when we were talking about The Shining. I like films that aren't just like in your face about it, but like there's a little subtlety to the ghosts and the monsters that are just kind of hiding, and you have to pay attention to see them. But I'm always down for a good jump scare too. But I like this one because this is one that I'm sitting there watching, and I think we talked about this too, Alec. And I'm like, I know Alec's response to this, but like if my friends called me and were like, especially this age, like 18, 19, and they're like, dude, come over. We have this hand and it'll fuck you up and you'll see some shit. I'm in, dude. 100%. I'm part of the montage. Okay. I guarantee it. No questions asked. In fact, I can't guarantee that if you guys call me and said I have a ceramic hand, embalmed hand, that'll make you see some shit, I don't go right now and do it. So this movie got me because I'm like, I would do this dumb shit. And I'd be pushing the limits too. I'd be like, is 90 seconds really the limit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if we go 100?
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah,
If either one of you fuckers calls me and says I have a magic ceramic hand, you'll never hear from me again. I'm gone. I'm out.
I love it.
I am off the grid.
I love it. Yeah, I'd definitely do it.
I mean, earlier in my life, I mean, absolutely, I'd be there. I'm sure I'd do it. Now that I mean, Tay would kill me. That would already be a fact. But
true.
Banks, now that I had that, I feel like I'd be putting more in jeopardy. Knowing if it was true. I mean, it sounds. I mean, basically, if JJ wouldn't call me at that point because that Taylor would kill me. I think I'd have to pass now, but earlier, sure, I'd be there.
Yeah.
Enjoy a good party.
I'd be down. Like,
but once I would have done it, let's say I had done it like Mia, and I know these people kept doing it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would be doing it again after that. I can't say. It's hard to say at that point. I mean, clearly it felt really good because people kept doing it.
If you're so dead inside, dead people make you feel alive, you got some big issues you gotta fucking work through that no amount of disembodied hand is gonna fix.
I'm just saying though, like, I like that take on this film too. Like, that's something that Mattson, when you bring it up, like that they feel good. Like, it's such a reverse or inverse of what you typically see from like an a possession style.
Yeah, you'd feel cold and
film.
Dead.
Yeah, like most of the time you get like Alec mentioned earlier, like the Exorcist, like they're falling apart and like it's bad. And then with this, at least for that time frame of 90 seconds, like they come out of it feeling euphoric and great. And like that's an interesting take for me because it's so opposite of what you typically hear, think about, see, envision from something like a possession, so I enjoyed that too. This movie also had a really great opening 5 minutes. Like, I love that part. Like when I was in I did not expect, like they're chasing this dude down. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Dude just like murks his brother. And I'm like, oh shit. And then when he shoves that knife into his eye, I'm like, what did I come see? I am having a good time. Yeah, that was dope. Like I was like, okay, that's a good way to start this movie. And then it levels out a little, obviously, as they do. But
JJ, did you go see this by yourself? Because I thought Casey didn't see this stuff. You're that kind of weirdo. Not that I don't have a problem seeing a movie by yourself. I'm just talking about seeing movies like this by yourself. Just not a good idea.
Yeah, see, I enjoy it though. Like this is my kind of movie. And I went and saw it. She doesn't. She's like, I'm good. Although I think she'd like aspects of this movie because it's a little different than most horror movies. But yeah, I was in the middle of the theater, center seat. There was like 18 people in there, and they're all peeing themselves, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I liked it a lot, actually. It's
Yeah,
one
the
of my
opening
favorite
scene was
rituals.
good. I kept through the movie. I was like, when are they going to connect that? And then obviously they did. And like the brother wasn't dead. It's like, oh, and then because at some point Joss said the name of the other individuals, like, oh, it's those two, and that's why the brother went crazy. And then it all made sense to me because through like half the movie was like, where are they connecting this? Like, there's got to be some connection here, and I didn't mind it. I thought it was quite good. I think, I mean, the TLDR for me, like overall, it's pretty good. Like, interesting subject matter, pretty well acted. I think there's some plot choices that I have some questions on, like any horror movie, but I think I was just expecting it to be maybe a little bit scarier to me. I'm not sure if this is so much horror movie as like a movie with a good twist that horror was incorporated into, or something that maybe was more suspenseful than like truly, because they could have. I mean, they really could have leaned into, like, go listen to our Patreon. When we are getting ready to record, we were talking about this, about like the satanic, demonic. Like, you could have easily just quickly thrown that in here, and really they could have ratcheted that up fast.
Mhm.
But they didn't. Like, when those ghosts showed up, once I saw the first one, I thought we were going, like, it was going to be like, oh, like 10. And I was like, no, like they didn't really go away. And I appreciated some of the subtle scares, like in the room, and like the person crawls, like that was awesome. But the stuff that was more in your face, like, to me, I felt like it was lacking a little bit to what I would have expected from a horror movie. And not that I wanted more of it, but I guess I wanted more of it.
I mean, you probably wanted more of it because I picked it, and you're thinking I'm going like balls to the wall. And I'll be honest, like,
I was anticipating. You're right, and then
sure,
it like never, I never like felt like really came.
yeah. And that's so when I went to when I went and saw this, like, I saw the previews for it, and I'm like, oh, this looks great. And I thought that it was going to be what you're talking about, like super in your face, like, demonic entities like taking over these kids, and then they get stupid and let one of them out. You know what I mean? But then when it wasn't, like, I was a little disappointed at first, but then the story started to ramp up, and I'm like, okay, so we're talking about some serious emotional issues, and like dealing with, like the young kid that gets just fucked up as he's beating his face against the table in the middle. And you're like, he's got this like issue where he's the little brother that's trying to be cool and wants to be part of the group, and then he's left out. You got the main lead girl whose mom is like, has committed suicide or didn't commit, but she's dead, and she doesn't know. Hasn't been able to deal with it. And then that like the two that are the ringleaders of this group, Joss and I can't remember the other girl, but like Haley, they were there. Like, you see, like, if you go back and watch the opening 5 minutes, they were at that party.
Oh, were they? That
When
I didn't notice.
Yeah, when he offed himself and his brother, like, they were at that party because they were one of them, that the guy that was looking for the kid came in, and they asked him, where's whatever his name is, and then, but it's blink and you miss it. But see, that's like, so I say that I would do it, and I absolutely would. But if I'm those two and I witness what happened then I'm like, see, there's a risk level there that I didn't understand prior to seeing.
Hell no, I wouldn't be
You know
doing
what I
that if
mean?
I saw that. I'd be like, JG, you were stupid if you're gonna do it after that. Like,
Yeah.
you're too good of a friend to me to let me let you do that.
Yeah. So the fact that those two idiots, and that goes again along with the fact that these two dumbasses are letting, and obviously these people aren't their good friends. They mock and make fun of most of them throughout, but like, that they let them do it knowing that that could happen in an instant, right? And you get obsessed with it. I'm like, ooh, you guys are assholes. And then you got the sister whose mom, and Miranda Otto is just amazing. Like, I love her. So she was so fucking funny in that opening, right before the party, when she's like interrogating everybody and like trying to get them to say, and the first kid, her boyfriend, she's like, when's the party? When's everybody coming over? And she's like, ooh, you're good. Like, I was like, this is awesome. So I loved her. But yeah, like, I just liked that it was playing on real life things that we see, and this is their escape, right? Like this is how they are dealing with it in their own ways. And then this poor kid that wants to be part of the group and sees everybody having a good time in this wonderfully wild and weird montage, like get involved, and then it backfires and everything goes fucking sideways because of one moment. Yeah, it's wicked. I liked it. And it messed with my head. Like I left going, that's fucked up. Like, would I do that? And then start thinking about it. So I think that's why I enjoyed this movie so much.
Yeah, I can't say that I enjoyed it, but there were parts of it where the scare was mitigated. Like I texted you, JJ, right off the bat when I figured out these were Australians.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm 100% good now, because anytime an Australian says something, it's hilarious. So even if it had gone more that satanic, demonic kind of alleyway, I mean, it's still hilarious when a Nazi talks. So I don't know if it would have even scared me that much more than it already did.
Mm-hmm.
But I was feeling a lot like Mattson, where I was puckered because I was expecting more.
Yeah.
And I've been puckered the entire fucking month of April. And nothing has really been to that level of what I was expecting. And you mentioned this because you kind of picked more psychological horror, which we've already established doesn't really work on me because of my psychopathic tendencies. But
Fair.
so I was sitting there going, where's it going to happen? Where's it going to happen? And even where you have the most disturbing kind of scary part where you have this lady in the corner, I was going like, what is wrong with this director? Who hurt this director or this, screenwriter, that this is where they're going to? I was like, this is just weird. So it never really hit that scary threshold to me. I was just going, this is weird. Like, and I think I mentioned to you as well, this montage of possession.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of funny, but it's weird at the same time.
Yeah.
Where you're almost mixing this new kind of way to do a movie with some horror elements, and just a lot of it I was like, what am I watching? This is some weird shit.
Yeah. The whole toe sucking thing, I was like, okay, I don't think that adds value to like I think I would have been more like, because I get what they were trying to do, right? Like the weirdest thing that you can like make everybody uncomfortable. And it like, if she's making out with the kid or she's like kissing his neck or something, like he's less likely to be as like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? When he wakes up and she's sucking on his toes. But still, I was like, you could have got your point across without. And look, no offense to anybody that's got a foot fetish. It's just
much offense to anybody who's got a foot fetish. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Like, yeah, that's not me. But I was like, and I got no problem. Like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But the way this played out, I was like, that's fucking weird. Like, yeah, it was weird. But one thing that I do struggle with this movie is the front end of the movie. Like, you have that opening sequence, and then the first time that Mia does the hand, like her scene is like pretty intense, like the run. Like, I love that moment where she's just like, and shit's not gonna go well for this kid, because she immediately goes, oh, they like you. And I was like, this is fucked up. And then her head goes and the run. Like, that scene messed me up a little. I was like, this is fucking creepy. So I love that. But then what happens is and I get what they were trying to do too. You don't see any more of the ghosts really for a good long time. You see two from her, the old man, and then the weird drowning lady. And then you don't see any more. And you get that moment with the kid where he like sees the mom, and you're like, you instantly know, because he looks over at her, and I'm like, don't fucking say it, dude. Just blow the candle out, disconnect. But he does it because he wants to, like, anyway, I'm just like, so for me, and then after that moment where the kid just destroys himself, everything kind of cools off a little too much for me, to where I'm like, it becomes so much about the story that I'm like, I could do without it. You know what I mean? So that is one struggle that I had with it. But then it ramps up at the end again a little bit.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is it ramps up a little bit at the end, and like you were like, who's gonna die? Is she gonna kill him or not? Obviously, spoiler alert, she kills herself. But there's too much in the in between that like I know what happened with her dad in the house, and then she kind of sees things, but it's a slow burn for me, and it's a burn that I can see that's going to happen. And I think this movie does a good job of giving you some of the unexpected, but then it falls into the tropes of just being a little bit too complacent. And when you're trying to be a movie that's keeping me on the edge of my seat, like you said, JJ, it started off hot. I think the montage scene and everything gets you intrigued, but then they cool off with the monsters, the ghosts, or whatever. And I'm like, well, like, kind of need some of it. And they show the scene and see what's happening with the brother. And I mean, I was like, whoa, that looks. I don't even want to see that again. But you needed like more of those things. And I think that's really where this movie suffered some, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Alex, I didn't need.
That was the best part of the movie. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I will say that there were a couple of moments, like when the brother's in the bathroom or the shower or whatever, he starts banging his head and laughing. Like that was like, oh God, that's hard to watch. But it wasn't like scared me. It just was hard to watch. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, Mattson, that scene where you see him being tortured, like by but the little girl got me more than that scene did.
I mean, it
like,
looked like an orgy, to be honest, like a
yeah.
orgy. I was
That one I was like, oh, that's a little fucking weird and over the top. Like, but then the little girl sitting on the bed, I was like, oh fuck no, get the fuck out of here with that shit. That scared me. I was like, nope, because I wasn't expecting like they pan over and then I'm like, oh, there's a fucking little girl. That one got me a little bit, but yeah, I'm with you. It just cools off too much, and then they never get back to a place where I'm like feeling the tension. I was interested in how it was going to play out, but I wasn't like uncomfortable the way I was in the earlier parts of the movie.
I did like the ending of the movie though, and how they kind of came full circle. I thought that was an interesting choice and a unique perspective, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought they kind of wrapped a good bow on it.
Yeah, I liked that we get to see the spirit's perspective from her, where everything's black and then there's a little light and you're like, "Ooh, what's that? I want to go see it." And then with the candle, then their hands out, but you don't see the embalmed hand. You just see their hand out like shake. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I like that. That's clever."
A direction that I thought they might have gone in the movie, like, they talk about the embalmed hand and like what it could be. No, obviously nobody knows, but I thought at some point maybe they would have tried to like crack it open, or like it would have gotten jostled around and it broke and you like saw the hand, or like the hand, I don't know, something like that. And not that it needed to, but I thought that could have been something there that added more value, but obviously they didn't make that decision. But I thought something like that could have happened.
Yeah. I was afraid for a while that they were going to do like they try to burn it or whatever, because the kid was like, just burn it, and then it doesn't get destroyed. Like, I would have been more interested if like at the end you see Jade because she went to the house, or you see that like somebody goes to her house and takes it and then they burn it and it actually destroys it, but then we cut still to Greece and then show us in a completely, right before it cuts, right, show us a completely different embalmed hand with like Greek writing on it instead of, like, to me, I'd be like, oh fuck, how many of these things are there, right? Like, that's interesting. And so, but again, we don't see that. We don't even know if it's the same one, if there's more. But yeah, I think there was a lot of things that they could have done, but I would have liked to have seen. I think for me, like, I liked that Mia was, but I wanted to see more people lose their shit. Like, I think have it be like, okay, the montage is there, but before that, like, have these two knuckleheads go and do another party, right? And it's a small group and they do it. And then you see this other kid like being led with some ghosts. Like, I just think they could have done more around it and do it quick and dirty, but having like some good ghost action where you just see these two kids that just don't give a shit. And I think that adds a level of torment, because by the time they get to the end, they're like, no, I don't, because they watch this kid beat the shit out of himself. And rightfully so. Everybody's like, no, we're fucking done, right? Except for Mia, who's tortured. But I think I struggled too, because I didn't understand fully why she was being tortured, other than it involved her mom. because she never crossed the 90 seconds. So why her versus anybody else? And so anyway,
I thought she did cross the 90 seconds on the first one because they couldn't get the hand off her. And when they wake her up, they're like, "Hey, we went a little bit over." And
you know
Yeah.
what?
I was like, and then she wanted to keep doing it, and I was like, "Look, in my opinion, if I would do this, I'm not gonna, but if I did, and the person who is in charge is like, hey, there's a time limit," and then when I wake up, the first thing I hear is, "Hey, we went over our time limit," I'm dropping the motherfucker like with a right cross straight to the face, and I'm never doing this again. But that would be a huge issue. Like, oh, by the way, we accidentally went over a little bit on our time.
But
when you're consorting with demons.
That's another problem I had with the movie, though, is because you pick and choose. Oh, it was stronger on Mia versus someone else, or was funnier with the boyfriend Daniel and making out with the dog, and it's funny. But when you make, you could say, well, they had a stronger spirit that they were dealing with, but I struggle with that at times because they made it so dramatic to get off Mia, but then it's so easy to get off someone else. And I'm like, well, those choices, I know you got to do it, but sometimes they annoy me because you create moments of tension. But then the next montage scene they show it, Daniel's making out with and moaning and making out with the dog, and it's not tense. And maybe that's how it goes, but I don't know. Sometimes that bothers me.
I got a great idea. You test it and let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if I ever did it, I wouldn't have any dogs in the room because that was pretty gross too.
Ugh.
Like, no thanks. Yeah, they are working on a sequel. So
it's good enough for a sequel,
I guess. I mean, probably in Australia. It was an Australian release, and then it did well enough that they brought it over. It was an Australia. There was an Australian
but
film
they
festival.
didn't. Where was the hand last seen? Because they didn't really show anything.
It was Greece. The
it's over
last group was in Greece, and so when Mia gets called through, and I only know that because I had the subtitles on and it said speaking Greek. I was like,
no, I did too. I knew that, but I mean, not every movie knows they're going to make a sequel, but I feel like that's where, Jay, you talked about burning the hand or doing something like almost like Jumanji style, where you're trying to bury the board game or something like that.
Yeah.
That would have done better, but then they're like a quick flash that it didn't work or something like that. And I think they missed on that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the concept, but I think it could have been a little better. Like they could have fleshed it out a little more, which I think would have helped the movie. But should we rate it?
Let's do it.
It's mine, so I'll go for it. I feel like I'm going first a lot this month moving forward, but I'm gonna give this movie a 3.5. Like I think for new age, I have a real problem with a lot of like modern horror. Most of it isn't good. It's just gratuitous violence and there's no story or there's no leaning into fuck it, we're just making a jump scare movie. You know what I mean? So like to me, this one had an interesting story. I think they tried to make something that was different and yet still played on typical horror tropes, as it were, that tends to get people. And I think, like I said, I liked the ideas around this movie. I think they could have done it better. I think it's better than average for a horror movie, so that's why I'm giving it a 3.5. But I do think there were some issues that they could have done things a little bit better. So I can't get much higher than that, even though I enjoyed it and I had a good time with it. So 3.5 for me. And I would watch it again. I think I'll watch the sequel when it comes out and hope it's good. I won't expect it to be better, but I think it'll be good. So, all right, Mattson.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 3. I would say slightly above average. Like Jay just kind of talked about, we talked about this. I think it's horror-esque, but not. If you're looking for something truly scary, it's really not that. This is not that movie, not even close. But if you're looking for something, a pretty good story that has scary elements in it and is intriguing and has got a little bit of a different vibe since it's made in Australia, like go watch it. I think you'll be in for a pleasant surprise. I don't think it's by all means a great movie, but it's also pretty short, so it's a quick watch. It's a fun watch, and to an extent, I think it'll give you something to talk about and feel a little spooky vibes. Yeah, Give it a 3.
Nice. All right, Alec, bring it home.
I'm gonna go 2.5, right in the middle of the road. For me, this movie wasn't scary enough to have that perverse kind of like, "Ooh, I'm gonna watch it again" type of a thing. And then it wasn't a good enough movie for me to just say, "Hey, you know what I want to watch? I want to watch this." So it's in that weird kind of middle ground where, I mean, as far as horror movies go, this was great watching it because I was able to sleep the night afterwards, and I've been fine ever since. I haven't even thought about it. So, I mean, there's that. But I mean, if we're going for horror and we're talking about what horror kind of brings to the table, this is just kind of right in the middle of the road. Is there's that little kind of perverse kind of, ooh, it's scary. I'm gonna go watch it again. And I don't have that with this. I'm perfectly fine never watching this again. So I'm gonna say 2.5, right in the middle of the road. But yeah, not mad I watched it.
Sure. There it is. Fair enough. I picked another decent movie.
You did.
Even though I was trying to hurt Alec's feelings. I feel like I failed in the month of April.
Well,
and I failed my opportunity, is what I've done.
You did.
Because I'll never get this opportunity again, but I failed.
No. Like you can hurt my feelings. I'll cry a little bit, but it doesn't mean anything. Like there's no lasting, trauma from that. But if you're not going to take your punch, I mean,
yeah, I fucked up. I realized that. I'll wait for the next. I will find a way to get that opportunity again. I'm gonna get him.
Good luck.
We're definitely not doing a whole month. I'm not doing this again.
Yeah, but
I mean, if Mattson doesn't want it, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, for October, we got to have at least one. So I'll find a way to shoot my shot in October, one of these Octobers in the future.
I'm taking Octobers off.
He's semi-retiring.
Semi-retiring every October.
I like it. All right. Well, Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Happy to, JJ. Thank you for tuning in to week 2 of horror movies. This has been our review of Talk to Me. Did you agree with our verdict? If so, let us know in the comments below. And if you like the content, be sure to schedule an appointment with your shrink to get yourself checked out. Special thanks to our patrons, So Puckered, Max, Bialystock, and Rich for selecting the movies during this month. You guys did good. We are back next Monday with week 3, and it's an absolute banger. So be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay informed on everything released. With that, I will kick it back to the Colossus of Clout, the Maharaja of MASH, a JJ.
Yeah, that's me. All right. Well, there it is. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!